Hi, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Ian, and I am up in an area called the Movie and Television Academy. It's a cultural innovation park here in Beijing. So I've came here early this morning, having a wander around. While doing that, I'm also reflecting on a movie that I watched last night that I had a scene in it that made me choke on my slightly salted popcorn when I saw the scene. And before I tell you about the movie and explain to you the scene that made me choke on my popcorn, let me explain to you some context. So this will be number 4 in my video essay series because I've had some feedback to say continue with that. And I'll do that until I run out of ideas. But I live here in Beijing, in China, and over the last 7 to 8 years I've seen and experienced vast improvements, much of which have been designed to enhance the lives of just everyday people. And if you do not believe me on that, go to some of the other channels on YouTube where there are people coming into China or who already live in China, and they're sharing their experiences, and you will see that they're saying very much the same as what I'm saying, same stuff. Many of the current YouTubers also who are coming into China are sharing what they're seeing with amazing passion, because it's just contradictory to what they're told in media outside of China, and then when they come in they're like, wow, it's amazing. So I'm also passionate about travelling and sharing my experiences from China and even beyond that as I get the chance to travel around other places. But one thing that runs core to my channel is that I'm very into avoiding war, kind of anti-war. And I like the idea of peace because it allows people to travel and experience each other's culture. And honestly, I believe that when we work together, we as humans can create amazing things. And to prove that statement, all you need to do, pause, look around where you are, and you will see amazing things around you that humans have thought up, invented, designed and built. And everything that you see around you, and I'm in an amazing place here which you'll see when I walk around, all of that stuff around you has come not from one person, despite some individual people saying that has came from them. Most of it's come from group achievements and people working together. And I believe that that's the best way to do it. Now, I also believe that there are unseen forces that are working against the happiness and well-being of many people who just want that peace. There are forces driving division, anger and conflict, despite the fact that the vast majority of people, they just want to live their lives in peace, safety, and be allowed to get on and enjoy a beautiful moments with family, friends, and live in some safe and secure communities. Now, I may have the mindset of an old 60s hippie, but I do believe that people fundamentally want peace. I mean, who in their right mind would want devastating war and conflict? I'm sure some people do want that, but they are usually the people who are well safe, politicians and the like, wealthy, and they're miles away from the devastation of war while raking in what I would say the war profits. So I don't want to get started on that. I better get back to the movie thing. I'm here in a movie area in Beijing. I'm going to have a walk around, change my location a few times. Stick with me, I'll get back to that question about movies in a second. This is interesting. It's maybe a wee bit more deteriorated, run down than I thought it was going to be. However, it looks like they're doing some work on it. Who knows? Anyway, it's an interesting pink cat place at the moment that I'm walking through. But let me get back to what I was discussing. The movies. The movie that I was watching that caused me to spit out my popcorn last night. So movies, the visual art of storytelling has always been utilised to sell a narrative, and the art form has been a perfect vehicle for, let's just say, driving narratives that support some form of propaganda. Initially, propaganda via movies was very much in your face, as denoted by the movies we would see from the old sort of World War II and just after that period. Then things got very, very subtle, more subtle, I think. And I think that was after the Vietnam War, because how that war was shown on our TVs and how that horrible imagery caused such public uproar, then I think that was at the point where it was possibly reduced and things got more subtle. If indeed there was any messaging done, then much of it was hidden within the story or plot lines, especially in the movies. Like I said, it was subtle, but then maybe it wasn't, and I was just at that time, because I was at the age where I was caught up with the whole Hollywood thing, because I grew up with things like Rocky fighting Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, Rambo refighting the Vietnam War and making things whole again while fighting Russians in Afghanistan. We had Indiana Jones fighting the German Nazis, Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting global terrorists or even future robots, which was him. Anyway, and we even had South African baddies being hunted down by Danny Glover and Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. And I'm kind of showing my age here, but that's the movies that I grew up with, and you get the idea. The movies had the baddies, and often the baddies reflected the times, the enemy of the USA in the West, so to speak. Then came an amazing movie that blew my mind. That movie, The Matrix, and for me, that really did blow my mind, shifted my thinking. I loved the idea that you could take a blue pill or a red pill, and depending on your choice of pill, you could be awakened and see the real world, or you could stay safe and sound by the option that the same as every other day pill gave you. So, question I've got for you, what colour of pill did you take when you saw The Matrix? Personally, I was a red pill again, I can't.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Miami. And in a matchup tonight, you'll see the Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Miami.
Not sure what this actually is these days, but it does look like it used to be very popular. Again, things are getting a bit tough in Beijing, so maybe this is one of the areas that has been affected by that sort of slowdown in the economy. Anyway, let's get back to the movie thing. The Matrix was a groundbreaking, awesome movie, and it landed at a time when people of my generation, myself included, we were beginning to really question our very existence, because we had gone from happy-go-lucky house parties and street raves, and then we went into let's blow up the Middle East in what felt like, to me and many, like a blink of an eye. And since I decided to take the let me see the real world pill, I have become increasingly alert to certain things. And I think that mindset for me has kept me curious and helped me continue to question life and other things in general. And I think we should all do that more. I think personally it's very healthy, and I encourage you to do it. And even though I took the pill that helped me open my mind, I think every now and again you come across things that just jar with you so much that it's like taking that pill all over again. You get that exact same what the moment, eyes popping open and realisation as pieces from different stories, plot lines, characters, influences sort of slot into place to give you another perspective or to shift your perspective. Watching that scene in the movie that I mentioned at the beginning of this video essay was one of these moments. I'm going to explain that to you and why it hit me so hard in a second, but I'm going to find another location and maybe share with you some more of this very bizarre, unusual place. Stick with me.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay, just let me be.
So I don't quite know what this is. I think it's kind of like an industrial park dedicated to the arts, movie making, TV. There's lots of small, maybe possibly studios or so. Anyway, I found a place that would sell me a beer. This beer cost me 5 RMB, big beer. And 5 RMB is about 45, 50 pence. Anyway, get back to this movie thing. The movie I'm talking about is called Civil War. It's not the best movie, to be honest, a bit ridiculous. The ending was just really dumb and how it was depicted, and I just don't ever see it unfolding like that, where the individual who's shot at the end is just left to his own defences. I just don't get that. Anyway, I did like the premise of the war photographers, which was what the movie was built around. And I think these people are incredibly brave, and they, as they put it in the movie, they document for other people to judge, which was one of the lines in the movie which stuck with me. I do think the threat of civil war in America is a real threat, as many of the signs that we can see coming from the social fabric of the USA do point a little bit to a kind of late stage fall, decline of an empire, and possibly reflects the decline of what we should call the USA empire. And if you look at history or listen to some of the big thinkers at this moment, like for instance the hedge fund guy Ray Dalio, you will see that they're warning of the same thing which I'm talking about, which is, of course, the decline of an empire, and they're urging for a course correction, and I hope that gets through that message.
Or, whatever
Even this
their
guy here,
position
Joe
is,
Rogan,
where
who
they're
is
real
no
hawkish on. And
friend
they
of
have a
China, doesn't
limited
really
amount of
understand
information
it.
about it when you talk
He's
to them.
talking about
So many people, when you talk to them about
issues
it, you're
and
like,
who tense
why do you
things
think
are.
that we need to
We
keep
should be
sending money
worried.
to Ukraine? Is it working? Like, are these people being used as cannon fodder, or are they gaining ground? Like, you tell me what you think. Well, I just think what Putin did was like, do you support a guy like storming into a country and taking over? I'm like, no, I definitely don't. I definitely didn't support that. But that doesn't mean that you should spend hundreds of billions of dollars to prolong what seems like some horrible, bloody conflict that just, how are they going to win? Are they going to take over Russia? Like, how are they going to win? They're going to kick Russia out? Russia's going to quit? They're never going to do it again? NATO can move in? Everything's going to be fine? Are you sure? Are you sure nuclear weapons aren't on the table? Are you My God. We have so much chaos. It's so kooky.
Yeah,
It's just so kooky.
it's crazy.
It's kooky, and it seems like they're just leaning into it. Like, there's no course correction at all. Just leaning into the kooky.
Anyway, the movie Civil War was made by Alex Garland, a writer, director that I happen to like. His novel, The Beach, was a staple reading for my generation, and the movie of the same name was just outstanding. And that in itself, I think, caused a lot of people to explore further afield when it came to travelling. Alex Garland's more recent movie, Ex Machina, was a movie way ahead of its time, and well worth watching, so I recommend that movie. But the movie scene, the one that caused me to spit out my popcorn, so to speak, in the movie, the scene we have, it looks like a militia soldier. It looks like a soldier, but I think it's a militia man. He's menacingly acted by Jesse Plemons, who's a great actor, and he plays this part very, very scarily well. Red glasses, and I would say that this is the most tense scene in the movie, as he is interrogating the war photographers, and he asked them if they're real Americans, what kind of Americans are they? And one by one, and they're terrified, one by one they answer him: Florida, Missouri, Colorado. And then he says, now that's what I'm talking about, American. He then turns to the Asian looking guy and he asks him the same question, and the guy's terrified because he just saw his colleague shot, and the Asian character replies, Hong Kong, China, and then boom, the American militia stroke soldier shoots him in cold blood, just like that.
English, okay? Where are you from?
I'm from Hong Kong.
Oh, China.
So I'm watching this movie with Lisa, and we are both sort of engrossed in the movie, but at that point where the guy's shot, we sort of just look at each other with a fair bit of raised eyebrow. I mean, the character could have been from anywhere. When you write a character like that, I'm sure you can decide his background, his ethnicity, and so on and so on. And for him to be from Hong Kong, China, it did seem to me that it was possibly a choice, and possibly a choice, whoa, flying, possibly a choice with a motivation. And that's when I had that sort of re-look and red pill moment thinking kick in. So I started to ask myself, was the character put there in the scene for a reason? Was it like a product placement type of thing, like what you see? And I think the one that always comes to mind for me is the Wayne's World, where they had a very funny approach to putting product placement in the movie, almost taking the piss around that.
Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
But they actually put in product like Pizza Hut, Doritos, Reebok, Pepsi, and although they were making a humorous comment about product placement, they were actually getting paid for it, and that's how they funded the money, funded the movie. So I was left asking myself, was the character in the Civil War, was his national representation and the background, was that paid for in a way like product placement is paid for? Could it have been paid for the fact that he was Hong Kong Chinese? Could it have been paid for by the huge money fund? Because I believe there's $500 million or so, apparently the US government puts that aside to aid their foreign policy, and they set it aside for the production and publishing of anti-China propaganda. So could it have been paid for that? I don't know. I mean, the movie did have a very low budget feel to it for me, so if a member of the government rocks up and offers some money to rewrite a character and pay you for it, to write the character in a way that could influence the general population to fall in line with the new foreign policy focus, then how could you say no? There's money on the table, and if it's the government, then again, I have no way of knowing this, and I really don't want it to be true. And I'm kind of angry at myself for having that red pill thought moment. I like to believe people are better than that to a certain extent, but you can understand why I might think that way because of what I've said earlier in this video essay. And I just felt really it was an unnecessary and unhelpful alignment of a character to a country. It was a movie about American Civil War set in modern times. You could have had many other choices, to be honest, not at least a fellow American. I mean, that would have shocked more and got across the point of the movie, if you ask me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I was being overly sensitive. I just don't think this stuff is helpful. This full-on subliminal drip of propaganda through a number of different mediums is designed to get us angry at each other, and that is a distraction. That is a matrix that we need to escape, especially when the vast majority of people, in my opinion, across the world just want to get along in peace, help each other, and build safe, secure communities to which they can raise their families and enjoy their life. People really do not want to be hating each other. That is something that we are taught through various means and for various nefarious reasons, and it's just not helpful. People the world over, in my opinion, and I believe this is to be true, people the world over just want peace and want to be living in some form of harmony. So this is where it gets a little bit different for me then, because I get kind of caught up in my own reflections in my head, because maybe the point of the character, the fact that he was from China or Hong Kong, was to get us so repulsed by war that we get angry. And if this is the case, then for me, I think that scene worked very well. I hoped it worked that way for you, because it worked that way for me, and it walks you closer to taking the red pill if you have not already done so. And if that scene did not push you towards taking the red pill, then maybe the following scene, the one that happens just immediately after that, the shocking scene where one of the female characters is crawling across a pit of dead bodies, and incidentally most people think they would be the female character. The chances are you would be one of the dead bodies. Hopefully that scene, horrific scene, quite a cinematic scene, hopefully that scene would lead you towards taking the red pill. Anyway, this is me, Ian, here in a very unusual place, kind of movie, TV, film, mall, academy, industrial complex or whatever in Beijing. I hope this video essay makes sense to you. Let me know your comments in the box below. This is me saying to you, take care of yourself, your family, your community, and as always, peace out, take care, catch you in the next video.